Now, talk to us about copyright though, because that's significantly different, and people mishmash the terms, but they are very different.
Absolutely, they're very different, and in fact, they're actually handled by two separate governmental entities. So the trademarks are handled by the United States Patent and Trademark Office, which is a completely separate entity from the Copyright Office, which handles the copyrights. So what is a copyright? So a copyright is basically the right to copy your own materials. That's how I like to say it. So if you are writing a book, you're writing a song, you're an artist, so you have drawings, if you are creating music, if you are a videographer, if you're a photographer, all those things that you create for creative purposes, all those things, the original work of authorship, that is what gets protected under copyright law. So when you think of someone stealing someone else's materials, like even online, if you see someone using someone else's pictures, that's a copyright infringement. That is not trademark. That trademark could be tied in, but that's not the main issue. So when you think of copyright, think of the right to copy your own works of authorship.
And I've seen, and this is really important, like what can happen, like if, and I know this as an attorney, but I'm asking you for the purpose of sharing with the audience. What happens when, there are people that go on websites and just snatch pieces, blogs and whatnot, and then repurpose it as their own? Tell us what the significant problem with that is.
Yeah, that's just so bad, and it's so rampant right now. I don't know if it's because we've all been cooped up in our houses for the last 2 years, but the problem with infringement, copyright infringement, has skyrocketed because people are creating more materials, more people are on social media than ever before, and they just don't see the problem with clicking copy and then reuse it for their own purposes. And what you're really doing when something does not belong to you and you're using it for whatever purpose, personal or professional, you are infringing on someone else's copyright. So be very, very careful with that, because not only can they sue you for damages on their own, there's also statutory damages that they can ask for, meaning you'll have to pay up basically if you really did take their product and use it, or materials, I should say.
Mm-hmm. And that kind of leads into my next question. What problems do you see when people try to DIY the trademark application process or copyright?
Sure. So there is not a lack of people trying to do all of this on their own. I don't know if it's just a sign of the times because everything is DIY. You have Pinterest, which promotes DIY for everything. You have Etsy, that's, DIY this and that, which is perfectly fine, but when it comes to legal matters, even if you think you know everything, you probably don't, at least not as much as someone that does it on a daily basis for a living, right? So sometimes when clients come to me and they have already butchered their trademark application, for example, because they didn't know what to put in there, or they put in some wrong information, it becomes a lot more costly to fix, right? So if you have butchered something and then an attorney needs to fix it, now it's going to cost you a lot more because the attorney would have to go and try to undo everything. Whereas if you hired an attorney in the beginning, they could have just done the process, taken care of the process very easily, much easier anyway than when you have butchered it. So what I have seen is people not putting in the correct information or missing information. That is at least kind of like the baseline. But I have also seen responses to office actions, which are basically given to you by the trademark office saying we're not going to register your mark because of X, Y, and Z. I have seen clients who put happy faces and LOL in their responses, which is mind-boggling because this is supposed to be an actual legal document. So once all those things have been done, it's very hard to now salvage what has been ruined. So that's what I've seen with trademark applications. With copyright, people just don't even bother to protect their work, especially photographers, other creatives who are so excited about putting it up on social media that they just don't care, or they don't think it's worth it for them to protect it, but then they start seeing it everywhere else, and that's a huge problem.